Hello, welcome back. This is Disha Shah, and I create videos on how to make, save, and invest money. From the title of this video, you know this is not a financial literacy video. Both of us have not been born but raised in Chennai, and the elections are coming up, the state elections in Tamil Nadu. And I think we were talking one day and we realized that there's so much that we don't know about. There's so much that is there to learn for the youth, especially the ones who are just turning 18 and are very new to this. Unfortunately, our families don't sit us down. Most of them don't sit us down and tell us our responsibilities, our civil duties. So this is a conversation we wanted to start because she's a law student. So let's do her introduction now. Tell your name, what do you do, everything.
Hi everyone, I am Vanathi and I am a fourth year law student at the Tamil Nadu National Law University. And this is a disclaimer, obviously, because I'm a student, so don't come at me if come at us.
Yeah, if you think there's anything that we said that was incorrect or needs some correction, feel free to leave it down in the comments. We're all here to learn.
Absolutely.
The intention of this video is just start the conversation and kind of spread whatever little bit she knows from her education, and I have a platform, so why not? Hence this video. So let's get started. Okay, to give you a gist about what this video is going to be about, it's going to be about the basics of what a government is, what democracy is. It's going to move into what are elections, and it's going to end by how you can take part in the elections. So let's start with the most basic question. What is democracy and why is it important?
So in the olden days, we were governed by kings.
Yeah.
And most of these kings got their power by invading a certain region, or this power was passed down to them by their fathers and their grandfathers. And the common man here, the citizen, does not have any choice in this matter. You just have to accept who your king is. And democracy is, let's say, the converse of that. So every citizen gets the right to elect their own representatives. And electing your own representatives gives you the choice of choosing who best fits your needs.
Yeah.
So let's say you want to get better roles or better opportunities. And you know who's best for that role.
That role. And they kind of represent you there and take it forward. Can you tell us what are elections?
Yeah, so elections are this democratic process that we use to elect our representatives using a system of casting votes.
And how many different kinds of elections are there in India?
So we have elections at like every different level, and the most basic level would be, let's say, the panchayat elections.
Yeah.
Which happens at a village level. And I think today we can discuss the Lok Sabha elections, which happen at a central level.
Yeah.
And it happens throughout the nation.
Yeah.
And legislative assembly elections, which happens in every state.
The state elections.
Yeah.
And how does this process go about?
So the difference here is that the majority party that wins a certain number of seats in the Lok Sabha is invited to form the central government.
Okay.
And the same happens at a lower level in the state government, where any party that secures a majority of the seats in the assembly gets to form the government and appoint the chief minister. Things like that.
So on the central level, they get to appoint the prime minister, and at the state level, it is the chief minister. And how do they go about securing the seats?
So each party nominates a candidate to contest for the seat in a particular constituency.
Okay. And what is a constituency?
So India is a very large country, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to, so there is a proportionate number of votes.
Yeah.
Which are available in accordance to the number of seats that are available in the legislative assembly.
Yeah.
So in Tamil Nadu, the legislative assembly has 234 seats.
Yeah.
And
I was thinking that 534 and 543.
No, that's
234.
234 in the state assembly and 543 in the Lok Sabha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the state elections, the state assembly seats correspond to certain zones. There are about 234
seats and that many constituents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throughout the state.
Yeah.
So in places like Chennai, where the population is more dense, the city is split up into smaller constituencies, and smaller districts have their own constituency.
But what is a constituency?
It's basically just a zone, the area where a person contests for a seat.
Got it.
Yeah. When you get elected for the seat of a particular constituency, you become the MLA of that region.
So you represent that area.
Exactly.
Got
So
it.
that's going to be your direct representative,
Yeah.
and so that's what matters over there.
Awesome. Can you tell me the difference between the central government and the state government?
So the central government deals with larger aspects of governing the entire country.
Yeah.
And they deal with defense and union budget and things like that.
Yeah.
And the state government deals with infrastructure around the state for the specific state. It's more localized and personalized.
Yeah. So are there any points of collaboration between the state and the central government?
Absolutely, there could be, in the sense, so national parties are not very in touch with state politics and in touch with states in general. And sometimes during elections, some national parties may choose to collaborate and form an alliance with a state government, a state party, and they could form a coalition. And you have the resources and all of that from a national party, and you also have the local expertise of the state
so
party.
You have people's trust also here, and they get a way in. Can you tell us what constitutes an election?
So it starts with a candidate being nominated to contest for a specific seat in a constituency.
Yeah.
And the head of the political party in the state who are contesting in elections, they choose who they give these tickets to. Tickets are basically just the seats that you are voting for in that specific constituency. Anyway, so after that we come to the election manifesto of all of the parties that are taking part.
What is an election manifesto?
So it's nothing but a list of promises that a specific party gives the people in exchange for their trust and for their votes. And when they come into power later, these are some issues that they will fix, basically.
And what are they allowed to promise? Because I've heard a lot of things about them giving like shady biryanis and alcohol under the table and like free gifts.
That's definitely not allowed. So we have the Election Commission, which is an independent body which regulates all elections in India. Function is to ensure that there's no coercion or bias in any of the elections.
Awesome.
And they have certain regulations, I'm sure you can look it up. And they put a cap on how much each party can spend while campaigning, and they have certain rules about the code of conduct when campaigning for elections. For example, you can't promise money in exchange for votes. Those are no-nos, you can't do that. You can, however, promise people, improvement in infrastructure like roads and electricity and healthcare, sanitation, things like that. You can talk about educational reforms that you're going to bring about, and job opportunities. You can promise reservations for people, let's say Adivasis in your state, things like that. There's a lot of different things that you can do, and it has to be constitutionally valid, basically.
Okay. And what about the freebies that you hear that go around? Like, I got a Mixie, I got a TV during elections. Are those things allowed?
So the freebies are usually given to people who are below poverty line, according to the family card or the ration card that's given by the state. And this is allowed generally because, again, it's constitutionally valid. There's something called positive discrimination, where you are allowed to do extra things for people who are oppressed.
Can you give us some resources or research pointers so that we can make a better informed voting decision?
So I would say if you have the time and if you have the ability to put in the effort, then definitely do read all of the election manifestos of the parties which are contesting in Tamil Nadu. But if not everyone has the time or the energy to go through all of that. So if that's the case with you, I would say try to get some information from the news, but try to get your news from an unbiased source. And I guess that's not always possible. So what I like to do is get information from different sources, different news outlets, let's say, and to know all the information before I make an informed choice.
Yeah.
So another pointer that I can give you guys is maybe choose a cause that is close to your heart and look at what each party's stance is about that cause. So for me, let's say if I pick gender equality or social injustices like casteism and lynching and stuff like that, then I would want to look at what parties are catering to those needs. So what would you?
I think for me, it would also be gender inequality. It would be economic opportunities and workers' welfare. From the women's point of view, also in the workers' welfare, like maternity leave, what are they doing in terms of the allowance? Not just maternity leave. I think I look at paternal holidays now. I also pick water crisis, environmental issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes it easy because then it narrows down your research points. Yeah.
So pick issues that are immediate and which are in dire need of support, and make sure that you choose people who support those causes.
Yeah. And I think I really like the fact that you said get your news from unbiased sources. If we've all watched, what's the Netflix show called?
Social Network?
No, the recent one. The Social Dilemma. So if you watch The Social Dilemma, you know about how polarized the thoughts are in terms of right-wing and left-wing parties. So if you are someone who has left-wing beliefs or ideologies, you want to make sure you also follow right-wing supporters and other parties, just so that you know you're not being fed just one sort of information. Because I think democracy is about the people's choice and healthy debate. So even if, like, among your friends, if you don't agree on something, it doesn't mean you have to stop the conversation. That's when you know there's a problem, right? There needs to be a healthy conversation. So
it goes both ways. You have to know both sides of the argument before you come to a conclusion.
Always. So if you think recently in your social media you like a certain party and you're only receiving news about that party, make sure to take that extra step and find out what the other parties are doing. Because like she said, it's about like electing that one person who's representing your constituency in your area, because that's where you're going to see the change, and that's what matters.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So we now know the difference between the central government, the state government. We know how the elections work. We know that we have to find our representative from our constituency who will get that one seat if they're elected. Can you tell us how we can take part in these elections?
So basic rules apply. You have to be a major, that is over the age of 18, to be eligible to register yourself to vote. Just because you're over 18 years old does not mean you automatically become eligible to vote. You have to register yourself with the National Voter Service Portal, NVSP. You can log into www.nvsp.in, or you can use their app, and you can, I'm sorry, I don't think you can do it now. You should have done it before. But for future reference, it's very easy to get your voter's ID. So make sure you do that to be eligible to vote. And what you can do before elections, maybe like a week before, is check if your name is on the electoral roll. And there are different ways to do that. You can, again, go to the portal and you can find, using the voter ID number that you have on your card, you can use that and you can check if your name's on the electoral roll. And when you have that, you can also side by side check your polling stations and which constituency you belong to. So when that happens, you have more specific research that can be done, such as who are the candidates from your preferred parties in your constituency. So chances are, if the party you prefer is in a coalition, then the representative there might be from another party that's in the coalition, not from the party that you're directly supporting. So if you want to still support your party, you have to vote for the one in coalition. Remember that.
Okay, so just for example, so you're saying basically this is not happening, never going to happen, but say DMK and like BJP have like joined hands and there's a BJP representative there, not a DMK. You can't blindly go and be like, if DMK is not, they're not going to vote. You have to vote for the BJP representative because they formed an alliance.
Yeah.
Just example, they haven't.
Hypothetical.
Very hypothetical, but just so that it's an easier example to understand. All the resources she mentioned will be there in the description box. Make sure to go there and make yourself familiar with these resources so that if you're not registered to vote and you miss these elections, it's all right. You can prep beforehand for the next election so that you're more comfortable, because life gets busy and you kind of don't have the time to get overwhelmed by all this right before the elections. So keep making yourself familiar with these resources. There are more videos out there that you can watch. If you can find some good ones, we will link them below and you can check them out. I will also leave some Instagram resources, artists that have taken a lot of pain to create really cute resources, easy to understand bits of information, so check them out. So make sure to check the description box out. Awesome. For the last question we have, what do you do once you're at the polling station?
So on poll day, the poll stations are open from 7 a.m. to 6 in the evening. So try to go between those times and cast your vote. Polling days are a holiday for everyone except essential workers. So please utilize your holiday. It's not just a holiday.
Yeah.
Please go register your vote. Use your voice for the people who cannot. And so once you reach the polling station, due to COVID, please try to maintain social distancing. Wear a mask. Use the disposable gloves that will be provided at the stations before you go into the polling station. And once you enter the polling station, you will be marked with the indelible ink to show that you've already voted. Then you go in and you see the electronic voting machine, which has the name of your representative plus the party symbol with a button next to it. And you have to press it for a while until the red flashing light goes away. And you can cross-check who you voted for on this another machine called the VVPAT right next to the EVM. And it shows a little paper ballot in a monitor where you can see who you voted for. And if there's any discrepancy between the button you pressed and the name on the paper, please inform your local electoral officer. And so this is just a way to ensure more accountability and transparency. So when the results are on the results, when the votes are being counted, when the ballots are being counted, they always cross-check the EVM votes with the paper trail from the VVPAT machines as well.
This makes sense because I think a couple of years back, I remember there were stories about no matter what you pressed, some one party was getting the vote. So this way you can kind of double check.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another important aspect of elections in India is Nota, or the none of the above button, which is available on all EVM machines. A common misconception about the Nota button is that if, let's say, 100 people are voting and all of them, or let's say 99 of them vote for Nota and only one person votes for some other candidate, then everybody loses because the majority votes for Nota. That's not how it works. Nota is basically a system which lets you register the fact that you don't want to vote.
Yeah.
So before the invention of... that's it. So before the Nota button was introduced to the EVM, people who didn't want to register their vote had to communicate this to the electoral officer in person, and this obviously invaded their privacy because you don't want there are some instances of gundaism and stuff when your identity is known. So to avoid that is why the Election Commission introduced the Nota button in the EVM. But it does not mean that if everybody votes for Nota, then all of the candidates will change. Anybody with the next highest number of votes will win.
Yeah. So either way, you want to go and
it's a way to protect your identity. So even if you don't want to vote.
Yeah. And if you don't want to vote and you don't press this option, also, like you mentioned, your identity might be used by someone else to take away your vote. So misused. So you want to go and, even if you don't want to vote for anyone, press the Nota button, but make sure you go and cast your vote, which is the most important thing.
So people in Tamil Nadu, polling day is on April 6th, which is the coming Tuesday. Please go to your respective polling stations and cast your vote.
Awesome, that's the whole video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button. Also share this with everyone you know in your communities, because I don't think we have enough conversations that happen about elections, about the processes, about the information that is out there. And this is a way to start that conversation. So make sure to share it with everyone and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Also make sure to leave a lot of comments down below on stuff you know about the elections, information that is not common out there, resources you want to provide. This is basically a community that is pretty small, so we can all interact with each other. And if you want more videos on legalities and the youth, then we have someone who we can reach out to. So make sure to leave your ideas down below and we will create those videos too. Yeah?
Yes.
Awesome. Bye. We will see you in your...
Bye.
We will see you in our next video.
I'm sweating so much. Oh God, I'm sweating so much.
Hold on.
Get some better equipment, Disha. Too many clocks in my house. Big Ben, ladies and gentlemen.
My God. Goes on and on and on.
Oh yeah, you're gonna hear 10 bells because it's 10 p.m.
Are you serious?